Hey y'all, I went live a little bit early because I know a lot of you guys, get over work, wanted to watch some of this, and I figured I'd start early because I kind of changed some things. I figured out how to do this with the camera horizontally. Hey, how you doing? We're fishing on the Snake River. Um, Big shout out to JW. He's in the hospital. Y'all say an extra prayer for him. I got off phone with him a little while ago, and he's a really good dude. Thanks for the like, appreciate it. I can't read the chats when I'm in the back of the boat. So what I did was I set up on this run. It's the same one Nancy and I were fishing the other day. And I'll turn this so you can see it. But the channel's right there behind me. And then you can see where it pinches down and comes out of that run right here. And then the current kind of, I'm right on the edge of that current. And where I'm sitting is it's about 3 foot. And right there, it drops to about 6. And then as it goes back down here, the wind's going to blow this around a little bit. As it gets later, it'll calm down. Part of the problem with me going, big old trout just came up right there in front of the boat. The water's up about another foot from what it was the other day. So it's kind of muddy, like worse than it was. It's not too bad right in here. And this goes into this slough, which is kind of like that other slough we fish. Those browns that come out of this deeper water and go up in that slough, go into those deep holes. And that place we fished, that I fished a couple times with you guys, is up around the corner there. And I'll hit that in the morning because I got to go put up some tree stands and stuff anyway. But I figured horizontally, I could catch the back of the boat and I could turn this a touch so y'all could like actually see what's going on out there instead of just watching me fish. I have a new chest thing coming that I can wear, like Tim Joyner. If you haven't checked out his channel, check out his channel. He's an awesome dude. He's in North Carolina. Silly salmon. I have no hair. That's because of you. And I appreciate him doing the shout out to my sister Granny's Corner. That was really sweet of him. This fishing community is absolutely awesome. I haven't met anybody in the fishing community that was a jerk. Travels with Travis, Ashley B, PA Sportsman. If I it's There's just so many of them. I need to make a list, and I'll do a shout out to everybody one day because you guys are just making my channel grow really quickly, and I appreciate the help. But please say a prayer for JW. He'll be all right. It's just he's gonna be in the hospital for a while. So hopefully he can come on here. He said he has unlimited service. So again, I can't read the chats when I'm back there. I'll come up and check them periodically, so don't think I'm being rude. Hopefully we'll start catching some fish. It's hot. It's 96 degrees. The breeze kind of helps coming across the water. So I'm sure, excuse me, I'm sure it's not quite that warm actually, but the temp in where I'm fishing here near, I hate it when I forget the name of these places. We're near Idaho Falls and Blackfoot. We're between Idaho Falls and Blackfoot on the Snake River. Um, Same place I always fish. And I usually just fish this stretch because we hunt this and fish this and duck hunt it. And I know the river real well. I can run it at 2 in the morning. The only thing I have to worry about hitting is a moose. There's a lot of eagles here. There's like 4 and a bald eagles in a tree down there. There's a couple golden eagles. There's a bald eagle up there, which leads me to believe that people have been fishing here today and probably throwing carp out on the bank because when they throw a carp out, it doesn't last very long. The eagles will come down and wipe it out. So they enjoy watching the boats come by because they're like, maybe we'll get a free meal. So anyway, in the description list is what I'm throwing today. It's the exact same thing I throw every day out here. One day I'll change lures. I have my ultralight with a top water on it with a little tiny torpedo because I'll try and throw it a little bit just for kicks and giggles. If my shoulder gets sore, I can always throw that ultralight. So again, I went a little bit early because I figured I'd better get started. The fishing's better here at dark, especially on these hot days, but we're gonna try it because again, we're fishing a run. There was somebody that asked me where the run was at, and I never got around to answering him because it's public water, man, and it's a great place to come fish because I've seen one float boat when I came up that was guiding, and I've seen 2 other boats fishing these holes today. And like I say, most of these people leave. I'm camped out up here, so I don't have to leave early because those guys will not run this river after dark. And I don't know why. I mean, we do it all over the rest of the country. I think I can understand it with the water coming up. There's some trees and stuff in here that you could hit that in a regular kicker boat, it might not be a good thing, but in a real good jet boat like my buddy Bo that was on last week at the camp there, like the one he's got, or this Go Devil, the only thing I'm worried about hitting is a moose because that would be a mess because you can't see them even with the lights. And I usually run without the lights because it's easier to see the water with the ambient light off of Firth and Blackfoot and Idaho Falls. So I usually don't run with a light on because it just destroys your night vision. I don't know if you guys, we've never, like tomorrow morning, if I get up early enough, you'll see all my lights in the boat are red, so it doesn't mess up my vision. Hopefully, this phone doesn't get hot. I've had that problem before. If it does, I've heard get an umbrella, and I haven't got around to doing that, and I should. But see, like the screen's kind of dark. It's hard to see it. So again, bear with me, but don't answer your chats. I'm not being rude. Let me hop back there and see if I can catch a fish. If JW or Granny's Corner gets on, like and subscribe to all these fishing channels, man. Like I say, there's not a one of them that's bad, and people do different stuff. I mean, if you like catfishing, I do that too, but it's not like the most exciting thing in the world. But man, when they hook one and catch one, it sure is. But everybody's got a different thing with their channel, which is cool because I've learned some stuff. Like I learned some stuff about striper fishing that I didn't know because I'm not a striper fisherman. So anyway, I have the same bait. It's in the description. I hope my sound's okay. If somebody will just say, yeah, see, like that chat comes up and then I can't really see it. Because the sun's, yeah, see, they disappear. And I think that's the only bad thing about being horizontal. So again, I apologize because I don't know how to go back and see what the chats are doing when it's horizontal. But I figured you guys could see what I'm doing better. And I'm going to hope a big gust of wind doesn't come up because y'all are sitting on the front deck. And I have the thing in a hole. I was going to show you what I'm using here. Same thing I always use, live pointers. And I put the Sharpie down it because this one was just regular sided live pointer. And it's a SP. I think it's a 66. It's in the description. But I throw this all the time. The only thing I have different tonight, and this has a 18-inch fluorocarbon leader, which I really don't need because the water's kind of muddy. And there's another trout just hit right there. I'm going to catch him. I have a deeper diver on there. It's the exact same lure. I just didn't put the stripe on it. And it's kind of hard to do this out. I should probably get the net out. But I don't like using a net because we're going to put that down so we don't catch that. I don't like using a net because it's really hard on the fish. I'd rather just lip them if I can. But if it's a trout, it's a pain in the butt. So let me see. I want to make sure you guys can see what all's going on here. Because it's kind of, I'm still disconglomerated or whatever you call it because I'm old. And that screen's gotten so dark. How about right there? I'll come back and check it in a minute. Again with the chats, I apologize. I can't even see him out here because the sun's still up and it's bright. And I really ought to catch that trout that's right there first. I'm going to reel it right down the edge of this riff. And I'm using, again, it's in the equipment list, but all of my reels are really fast reels. I even have one that's 10.5 to 1. This is a 7.5 to 1 because a 5 to 1 or 5.5 to 1 is not going to keep up with this current. And you're never going to catch fish if you don't keep the line tight. I mean, you'll have some that'll hit it and they'll get hooked and all that, but it's really hard to get a hook set if your line isn't tight. But what's going to happen is I was going to go live later because the fishing just gets better as the day goes on, but it's still pretty, sun's up. We live way north here, so it doesn't get dark till 9:45 still. This is where Nancy caught that big smallie. And usually when I fish this, I'm waiting. I go off that bar that I showed you at the beginning, and I wade out, and I just kind of wade down into the shallow stuff. I don't get this far down because there's some weird currents in here. Sometimes you'll get an upwelling here. There was a hit. You get an upwelling here. That was a rainbow. You can tell when those rainbows hit because it's like a little, they'll hit it, there's a little shake, and their mouths aren't that big, and these hooks usually just rip right out of their mouth. Yep, scale. Trout. And like, if I wanted to catch a bunch of little trout, I could take that ultralight and put like a MEP spinner on there or something, and you'll catch a lot of little trout doing that. It's just not, I'm not fishing for the little ones. I'm fishing for the ones like that. The picture that I put up for the live feed today was a native cutthroat I caught here a couple of years ago. And I haven't caught a native cutthroat this year, and they get big in here. Bigger than Nancy's rainbow last week. I gotta do something about that because she kicked my butt. I put her on all the spots, of course, and I wouldn't have a heart to tell her I was slacking off because, you know. Yeah, we caught this fish the other day. It was morning. It hadn't gotten hot yet. The water temperature is, let's see. Yeah, 70 degrees, 70.2. And that's warm for a trout. They like that 55-degree stuff. Professional override. I didn't put the real magic on here yet. But yeah, so to my left, because y'all are looking at the bank, which here would be the south bank, because the river runs kind of north and south here. Or excuse me, it runs north and south in here. That would be the east bank. And it's real deep right along the edge of it. It's deep in front of me off the back of the boat here. It's real shallow right here. And then there's just kind of a step out there. And those rainbows really like getting on those steps. That's why you'll have a bunch of little rainbows stacked on those things a lot of times. And like I say, when they hit this thing, you know it because it's just a hit and a little shake, and usually they're off of there. Because in this current, it's hard to get one of those guys in. And it's probably running, I bet this current's running 12 knots right here. Because that pinches down pretty tight right here. The river's only probably about 60 yards wide. And there's a lot of water coming through here. I got to put some real magic on this stuff because it's not going to want to cooperate. Because I don't usually get backlashes. And now's about the time the big brown hits and pop the line. But again, this has been hit a couple times today, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. And where I anchored, I have to anchor with my back. I can't anchor in current like that. I'd never get the doggone anchor out of the water. So I anchor on the edge of it. And I'm just kind of sitting in an eddy here. If I went too far behind me, it would want to push me down the slough. And it won't push far because there's a current coming from my left back to my right. So there's a lot of water moving in here from different directions, which is always good. Real magic. My hands don't work anymore. How many of y'all, when you get old, you freaking go to pick something up and you just drop it? That'll take care of the backlashing problem for a little bit. I like Power Pro, but in this dry air that we have here in Idaho, it kind of dries out. It doesn't take away from the strength, but you'll get some backlashes. And see no backlash there because we got it lubed up. But yeah, I'm just working it through the, throw it out, work it back through the current. When it gets on the edge of this eddy, just kind of stop it and just kind of jerk it back like a bait fish that's disoriented. from coming out of that current. I know there's a tree out here somewhere. And if we sit here for too long and don't get a hit, I'll move down the river a little bit. Because this is a pretty deep hole, but it's also pretty calm water right here. So the water temperature's warmer. We're sitting at 70 degrees. But if I got over there where the current's running, it's probably about 65, maybe even cooler. So I just bounce it along. It's not hitting the bottom. I'm just letting the current kind of take it. Because if I reel it in, it's just, if the current's going so fast, it's just going to pop it to the surface. So it's hard to get it down deep. That's why I have that deeper diver on. It's, again, the same lure, but I think there was a bump. Little rainbows. Our little smallmouth. This is a great run. You could stand here in a day and catch every trout that we have in Idaho except for brook trout. A friend of mine came up from Florida. He wanted to catch a brown, wanted to catch a rainbow, wanted to catch a cutthroat, wanted to catch a dolly varden, which they call bull trout here. And he did. He stood on that other bar over there all day and caught every fish you could catch out here. But it's a nice day. It's beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. I want to say hey again to Silly Salmon for helping me get this buzz cut. I really should be wearing a life jacket because if you fall in here, I could probably stand up right here because the current's not too bad. But the worst thing would be to get swept downstream. I'd have to hit that bank. I'd have to walk all the way back around or swim this, go above the boat, and then get back in the boat. And I found out last week, without my wife's help, yeah, that's kind of tough. I've caught some big browns right here, early in the morning and later in the day. Because again, this is just, it's hot. But I figured I'd go live so I could say hey to everybody. I'll be out tomorrow morning again and tomorrow night. See what happens there. There's a hole right there, and the smallmouth stack up in there sometimes. I also just ran through all this a few minutes ago. And usually I give it 10 or 15 minutes to settle down. But yeah, I talked to one of my buddy landowners down here the other day that I got permission to be all over their property. Somebody bought a corner up there and they're putting a house right there and they're putting a dock or something. And it's like, man, this is BLM property. I don't think you could do that for one thing. And secondly, this river has flooded Idaho Falls before. When this stuff gets bad, it gets bad. And there's a reason there's that, I don't know if y'all can see it. There's a huge dike right there. Because this section's been washed out a few times. And I don't know why in the hell anybody who would move here would put something right on the water down there. Because, man, when it comes through there, it comes through there. I don't even know how they get insurance for it. I mean, because this is definitely a flood zone. And I've been out here when those trees behind me or in front of me there were, I mean, they were in water, like 3 foot of water, 4 foot of water. Cool thing is with this boat, you can run anywhere you want to when that's happening. Yeah, I think it's going to be a slow day today because this heat does not help. Oh, oh, well, that's just terrible. Bo lost a lure the other day because of that. I'm going to change rods here in a second. I was going to change the line on this because this has been a couple years old, but I figured I could get through this weekend. But this rod, this reel, these are good reels. These Cast Kings for the money. I mean, they're not a Calcutta for by any means, but get some of this line out of here and let it go and see if I can get it to clear. Hope a fish doesn't hit because I ain't got much line left. There's a mad robin back there. She's raising Cain. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's just hot. So I've been kind of hanging out in camp. Got my banjo out and played it a little bit, and then realized that with a reconstructed shoulder and a trigger finger, all those surgeries I had on my fingers, yeah, I got to kind of have to play with that a little bit. That was probably a carp. We're going to hook back there and see because it might be a smallmouth. It didn't clear the water. The other reason it's so much better in the evening and in the morning is you get hatches of aquatic flies, like stoneflies and duns and mayflies and all that. And that gets these fish turned on big time because the rainbows will start feeding. It's like in your aquarium. If you feed the fish, they all get excited. The catfish get excited. Everybody gets excited because something's getting fed. It kind of works the same way out here. Um, the bigger fish will come up. Plus, those big browns eat those rainbows. So if a rainbow is concentrating on going up to sip a fly off the surface, the brown will ease up right behind him and just take him out. I don't know why that robin's so mad. There must be a coyote messing with their babies or something because I don't see a hawk. And she is mad. Yeah, like I said, I was gonna go live later, like at 7:30 my time, but that's 9:30 back home. Sis is in Ohio. I think she's still on Eastern time. Seeing that current, I could feel that lure just wobbling and doing its thing, so I'm just gonna work it down. And once it gets to the edge of that, because a lot of times you get the hit on that sweep when it sweeps around. And there's a lot of grass in the water because of all the fluctuations they've been doing. I know I need a drink. It's hot. It is hot, hot. So hang on and bear with me. Plus, I need to check that phone. I hope it didn't get hot because that happens. Yeah, I think we're good. I just wish it was brighter. I don't even know how to do that because I really can't even see the screen. Let me see if I can do something with this. That. Then we're going to go. My lost for a minute. And see, I just can't even see those chats. So I apologize. Maybe do this. It is, it's hard to see them. Yep, can't read them. Absolutely sucks. That's why I want to get that thing on my chest. So I apologize, guys. Again, if you're asking what I'm using, everything's in the description. Go check that out. I know everybody love to get a shout out. And if you'd like and subscribe, I'll subscribe back to you. And we're pretty good about hollering at the people we love. And by hollering, I mean giving them a shout out. Like my sister, she's got a cool channel. It's like teaches you all the things that we learned as kids. So I found out the other day you cannot drink a beer. I don't know about root beer or cream soda. So if somebody gets excited about me drinking an A&W cream soda, I guess they're just gonna have to be excited. But yeah, like I said, I was gonna wait because it'd be a hell of a lot easier to see the screen. Yeah, it's terrible. Like you can't even, I can tell I'm on there, but I can't see it, so I apologize. Thanks for all the likes and people who subscribe. I appreciate it. I think that's the bad thing about it being sideways. The chat pops up for a second and it goes away. Or if I have it vertically, the chat stays there. I could scroll back through it and read it. And Tim Joyner, again, go check out his channel. Awesome guy. He actually took the time while he was fishing the other day to explain to me what he uses. And he's good about reading chats. And he doesn't have to stop fishing. So I assume that with that being on his chest, he could just read it. But for those of you who just joined us, we're on the Snake River in Idaho. Oh, man, I don't want to throw that deeper one yet because I know I'm going to get it hung up. And I don't really want to have to lose an $18 lure just yet. Although, we're going to try this as the same lure without the stripe, I think. And this one I don't have the fluorocarbon on. Because, again, you'll have people that say, oh, you have to have fluorocarbon. You absolutely have to have it. Well, if the water's real clear, it helps. But it also gives you another point that your line can break. Because now you have an extra knot. So there's two schools of thought on that. I've done both. I don't think I catch any less fish unless it's really clear. With this water, especially when it gets low, it's just, Florida Keys in the summertime, clarity, just absolutely. I'm a scuba diver too. It gets clear. Check my drag. I keep the drag real loose because these Gamakatsu hooks on these live pointers are super sharp. And it's hard to catch a rainbow because when you set the hook or when they hit it, they'll just pull it right through their lips. So I keep the drag set loose. So when I set the hook, it literally just strips off drag. And since braid doesn't stretch, there's more than enough force there to set the hook in a big brown. And then I'll just tighten the drag up as I need to when I'm fighting the fish. But right now, you need a fish. But I'll tell you what's going to happen is either we're gonna start catching smallmouth here after this settled down from me driving through it. And about the time my battery goes dead tonight, I'll catch a big brown. I wish we'd have been live when Nancy caught that smallmouth because that was a nice fish. And she was complaining she hadn't caught a trout this year. Then she goes back there and kicks my butt and catches that big old rainbow, which is not a monster in here, but still a nice rainbow. And then and it fed us. We had a nice supper that night with the rainbow I caught the night before. And for those of you, I don't know why that live stream didn't save, because I did my trout recipe on there on the campfire, but I'll do it again. We're going to be out here fishing and hunting for the next 2 months, probably into October. So, and the fishing gets better out here in the fall. I mean, if you want to come out here and float the river just to enjoy floating the river, yeah, now's the time to do it. Water temperature 70 degrees, air temperature's 96. Great day to go float the river in a tube or float boat or whatever. But um, to come out here and really slay the fish, that fall bite's really good. The spring bite right after runoff, when everything settles down, it's pretty good. But the fall, when these fish start trying to stock up for winter, it's amazing how many fish you could catch out here. I mean, we've had days where it's like every cast until you've kind of fished that hole out, and then you just move. And there's not near as many people out here during the fall because everybody wants to come float it and enjoy this hot weather so they can get in the water. Well, I've taken baths in this thing in November. The latest I took a bath was November 4th. The water temperature was like 53 degrees, and I was miserable. It was cold. But I take a bath every day when I'm hunting because I don't want to smell. We're hunting whitetails, and everybody who hunts them knows they have a nose that won't quit. Come on, smallmouth. I know you're in here. Slow this retrieve down. When the water's warmed up, the fish are usually pretty. Their metabolism kicks in, and they're actually more active. Um, cold water fish move slower, hot water fish move faster. But the problem is there comes a point where it's so warm, they just go get in a deep hole and sit there. And with this water being up, it kind of there's more oxygen in the water when it's cooler. So on these runs, there's a fish just jumped back there. Um, on these runs, if you catch them at the end of this rift where it's come across this rock, as it burbles through there, it oxygenates the water and it makes it, really um, sometimes real preferable for the trout. But when it's 70 degrees, it's still not holding the water or the oxygen that it does when it's cooler. So they'll just get in a hole and sit there. And I've watched them in these holes when the water's down, and they just sit there. You could roll. I've rolled all kinds. That's when I've changed baits doing that because I tried getting everything by those fish, and they don't care. Now, as it gets darker, in the day, or as it gets cooler in the day, towards dark, then they start moving around a little bit. But I've watched them down there at camp. That hole's real deep, so when the water's real low, there's a hole in there that's still about 15 foot deep, and it was full of fish. But they just the bass had hit a little bit, but the rest of them, the trout, they didn't want anything to do with nothing. Cast along this bank here, along this edge. People out here don't wear these fishing shirts like I've got on. So they look at you kind of funny, like it's not winter. Why do you have a hood and that on there? And these shirts are actually cooler than being barebacked like I was the other day. Except for a camp, it's kind of nice to not have a shirt on, but they're actually a lot cooler. And my wife was giving me grief about getting so sunburnt. So I have my shirts with my hoodies on them, or with the hood on them. Ah, professional override. Yeah, I sure don't understand why we only had the one hit. Try back here. I know there's some bass sitting here somewhere. We just got to find them. woodpeckers. Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw the video I did earlier with the wasp, the wood wasp. Those things are cool, man. There's a whole bunch of little holes in there where those horntails have laid their eggs. And man, she was just filling every one of those larvae with eggs. And then she, when she puts the larva in there, she puts some chemical in there that actually kind of puts the larva in a coma. And then as the little wood wasps hatch, that's what they eat. There was a hit. That's what they eat, leather rainbow. For those of you just starting out fishing, I mean, you notice I cast sidearm in a lot of different ways. That's for tournament fishing. You got a partner in the boat. We're all trying to hit spots, and you kind of get good at just throwing things like that underhead and still throwing them a mile. It's something to go practice. If you fly fish, being able to throw a fly rod, you'll learn a lot about the rod. Doesn't care if it's up here, down here, wherever. You just need that 10 and 2 motion or a circular motion. I use a lot because it's easier on my shoulders. Yeah, it is slow today, but it's pretty. I wish I could see the chat. I'd take a break, go back there, and talk to y'all, but still learning. I know there's got to be something that'll help you see that chat. Man, right on the edge of this rift, something should just destroy this thing. We might give this a few more minutes, and I might just run back up in there, because I guarantee you nobody's fished up there today. These guys that float the river, they don't get out of the main current, because for them to get up there, they have to paddle against that current to get back to that spot. And so they just float this main current. That's why, especially like on the weekends, you'll have guys run up in there in their jet boats that'll fish it. But during the week, or when the floaters are out here, the paddle boarders and stuff, they won't run back up there and fish that. I didn't bring the trolling on. There's a trout. That the same trout's feeding right there. I might have to just, I don't know what he's doing. It looked like a nice rainbow. Let's see. Let's see what we can do here. You got to really slow this retrieve down. The bait's almost, it's really wanting to run sideways because it's so, the current's running so strong today. But like I say, the water's up a foot from what it was last week. So on my gauge that I go by, we usually like it around 6.2 to 3.1. To fish behind Wes's back there, you want it about 3.6. But when it comes up to 4.5 foot like it's been this week, it muddies it up. It makes it a little bit harder to fish. And the other thing is, clear water stays colder longer than muddy water does, because muddy water, all those little particles catch the sunlight and they heat up. So if it's muddy, it's going to be warmer than it is if it were clear. And that's why this will clear up. A day or two, if they don't dump a bunch more water, this will clear up and it'll cool off just a little bit. Because last night at the house, it was 49 degrees. So it was kind of chilly this morning by standard. And down here, when I got down here this morning at 8:30 to put the boat in to run up to camp, it was 52. So it was chilly down here last night too for, July. mean, that hole is right there. Yeah, I know it's kind of boring when we're not catching fish, but the scenery's beautiful. We got birds flying around. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. Just the fish aren't cooperating yet. But when it's hot like this, if I wasn't doing the live stream, I would have waited till probably 7:30, even 8, because again, it's not. I can run the boat back at 10 o'clock at night and still see where I'm going without a light. But um, I figured we'd try this. Yep. And you know, some people say, well, why don't you change baits? If they're not hitting, they're not hitting. Um, I mean, short of even a fly right now, I'd be throwing like a woolly booger or something. Just letting it drift with the current. And I still wouldn't expect too much because of it being so warm. And it's not like Alaska where right now, it doesn't matter how hot it gets, there's a bunch of salmon in the water. And because the salmon are in the water and there's salmon eggs everywhere, every kind of fish you could think of up there is feeding. And it doesn't matter how, then the water up there doesn't get 70 to 72 degrees very often. Not where I was at. I've caught fish doing this too in here. Just stood here on the thing and let it go in the current. And just kept letting the current take it. And as it gets to the edge of this, it slows down, but there's still enough current to keep it off the bottom. And a lot of times the fish that are coming up here to feed or that are coming through here, we'll see that thing bouncing there. I think I'm gonna throw that deep diver just to see, because maybe with this current, it's just not getting down quite deep enough. But when you get to the edge of these shallows where it comes up, you know, like right there is 9 foot deep and it comes up into 3. The fish that are sitting on the bottom, they like that bank. I watch people fish, and you know, you'll notice that the people who are in a boat are throwing to the bank, and the people who are on the bank are throwing as far out as they can. Um, if you're fishing the bank, instead of throwing out in the middle, fish down the edge of it. Because those fish, I've said this before, the fish will um, use that bank as a stop, like a wall. And they know that if they get the bait fish in there, and the bait fish get, you know, side whacked against that wall, they've got them pinned up against it. That's where they come and feed. That's why we catch those big browns down next to camp, is usually right along where that comes up out of that 12, 13, 15 foot of water into 3 on that rock bank. So we're going to try this. I don't know that it's going to work because I'm probably going to get hung up, but we're going to see. Probably going to feel this thing bouncing off the bottom, maybe. Which is a good thing. If you got rocks and you have a square lip or something like this that dives a little deeper that bounces off the rocks, when it hits the rocks, it'll make that tick, 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 and that'll get the fish kind of excited sometimes. Yeah, it's definitely a little deeper diving, but I just have a feeling I'm gonna catch a. There's a fish. That's a bass, I think. This is why I don't listen to the radio when I'm fishing. A lot of people will be out and they got that radio blaring, even during tournaments, and I don't want to. I want to hear the fish hit, especially if you're in the southeast. And if Small Water Charters gets on here, he's a good channel too to check out. They're awesome guys. They'll tell you, man, you can hear those big bass hit something, and if they're close enough, man, and you get on them, you'll catch them. Man, there's a lot of crap in the water. Sticks, grass, leaves. I hear a turkey. There's a turkey putting up in there somewhere. We got a lot of turkeys down here. Merriman's turkeys. I haven't shot one down here yet. They just opened it up last year. That you don't. This isn't a draw hunt anymore for turkeys. So next spring, I'm kind of planning on coming out here because it'd be nice to take a bird where I've been deer hunting all these years. I think this reel. Yeah, this reel just took a dive. I have no idea why. There it goes. Here y'all are. So how people watching. Welcome to the live chat. Oh gee, I can see it. Radar's in an area of the Snake River where cell phone get back. Yeah, it is. So for you guys that bailed, I don't blame you. Plus, it's hard. It's really hard to keep the cell service going here. So thanks guys for letting me let everybody know that. I wish I could figure out this chat thing. There it is. Hey Granny. Hey Jay. Thanks you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, you know what? Okay, going to go. This keeps happening and don't know why. Plus no sound. No sound. All right. It's just I got bad reception. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bail. It's kind of hot anyway. So I'm going to bail. I'll go live in the morning. I'll get this figured out and I'll make sure I have it right upside. Because this isn't going to work for me. I got to be able to read the chats. And then, like I say, I got to hold it right here. Jay, thinking about you. Keep in touch. Yeah, please do. Yeah, my cell reception sucks. It's probably really good right now because I'm actually holding the phone. And it's not like hanging out up there. So, again, this is just a hard place to do it. It's almost easier to do a video and send you guys a video. You know what I mean? Jay, thanks, man. If you can hear me, I love you. Hang in there. Let us know how you're doing. Sis, I'll catch up with you later. I love you. Doggone phone sucks. I'll catch up with you guys later. Love y'all. Be good. Tracy. Yeah. Jay, be good, man. Love you. Talk to you guys later.